Have you ever heard the expression, when nothing is sure, everything is possible? That is an interesting quote by Margaret Drabble, and it suggests that when there's a lack of certainty, anything is possible. This can be both exciting and intimidating because it presents us with an infinite possibilities and potential outcomes. That is the thing about life. Nothing is actually predictable, except two things, death and change. And to be fair, death is change, so I guess there's only one thing that is predictable, and that is change. So, how is this related to uncertainty? What is uncertainty? Uncertainty refers to the inherent unpredictability and lack of control that we experience in many aspects of our lives. It can be caused by various factors such as changes in the environment, other people's actions, or random events beyond our control. And if you look around, you will notice a lot of things happening that go beyond our understanding, let alone our control. Uncertainty is always related to change, as change often brings with it an element of the unknown. Now, we know that everything changes and nothing lasts forever. Every state has and needs its opposite to be made manifest. We breathe in so we can breathe out. Our body grows, declines, and decay. Our mental attitudes evolve. Excitement and anger arise, then they fade away just like every other emotion. Everything that is alive will someday die. Seasons change, rivers carve new courses, stars go supernova. All of this just means that we actually face uncertainty in each moment of our lives. And if that is true, then good news. You have already lived through many moments and experiences of uncertainty and you survived. Nevertheless, when we don't know what to expect, we may feel anxious or fearful about the future. This can be especially true when the change is significant and potentially disruptive. But change can also be a source of excitement and opportunity, as it can create the possibility for new experiences and challenges. So, to get a clearer picture, here are a few examples of disruptive changes that may bring about uncertainty and stress. Things like losing your job. This can be a significant and unexpected change that brings with it uncertainty about the future, including financial stability and job prospects. Also, moving to a new location. Relocating to a new city or country can be exciting, but it can also be stressful as you navigate a new environment and possibly a new culture. How about changing careers? Making a significant change in your career path, such as switching to a new industry or going back to school, can bring about uncertainty about your skills and prospects in the new field. Relationship changes. Breakups, divorces, and other changes in relationships can be emotionally challenging and bring about uncertainty about the future. Health changes. Diagnoses of chronic health conditions or unexpected injuries can bring about uncertainty over treatment options, prognosis, and the impact of daily life. Natural disasters such as hurricanes, earthquakes, and wildfires can also bring significant disruption, including the possibility of losing a home or being displaced. These are just a few examples of the many disruptive changes that may bring about fear and anxiety for the future. This fear and anxiety often stem from a sense of lack of control. This is the reason why we experience uncertainty. When we feel uncertain about the future, we may feel like we don't have a clear path forward, or we don't know what to do next. This can lead to a desire to try to control the situation or the outcome. And because we're programmed with negativity bias, we often find ourselves catastrophizing outcomes. Catastrophizing is a mental habit that involves thinking about the worst possible outcome in any given situation. And it can be especially common when we are facing uncertainty, because anticipating every potential outcome is our brain's attempt to feel more in control. However, this kind of thinking can actually increase anxiety and self-doubt, as it involves dwelling on negative possibilities rather than focus on what we can do in the present. In fact, this act of repeatedly thinking about negative thoughts is what leads to our suffering. This rumination creates a negative feedback loop, where the more we ruminate, the more anxious and uncertain we feel, which in turn leads to more rumination, making it much harder to break out of the cycle. So if you find yourself ruminating over uncertainty, you can practice shifting your focus to the present moment and engage in activities that make you feel more grounded and centered. Introducing lifestyle changes such as mindfulness practices can help you manage the stress and anxiety triggered by the ruminating mind. For more on this topic, watch our video on how to heal anxiety. And yes, although it does take practice, you can heal anxiety for good. There are many other ways to cope with and manage uncertainty in life. Some strategies include setting clear goals and priorities, develop a sense of flexibility and adaptability, and seeking support from others, professionally or otherwise. And again, check this video's descriptions for more resources. When we don't have control over what will happen, our natural reaction is to seek comfort. But this is what keeps us stuck in bad habits. So instead, you can choose to look for opportunities for self-mastery. A good exercise that I personally like to practice is to consciously invite uncertainty into my life. This can look like diving into all the possible scenarios, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and allowing myself to feel all the uncomfortable feelings that I'm afraid to feel. Then I play out how I would meet each scenario in my head, especially the catastrophic ones. Of course, when I first started doing this, it was very hard. So if you easily spiral into rumination and catastrophizing, my advice is to start small. Small things, there's nothing bigger. In time, this habit will help you build confidence that you will be able to overcome whatever happens, because you will be equipped to better manage your expectations. That's the interesting thing about fear and why this exercise works so flawlessly. Our minds are a projection technology, and fear is a feature of the mind. When we face uncertainty, this program projects itself into the next moment in an attempt to bring safety into our experience. In other words, we create expectations. But if we deliberately sit with these unpleasant feelings, they lose steam. Our fear subsides because there's no novelty in the future it's attempting to predict, and therefore no reason to be activated. With this exercise, you are consciously inviting opportunities to master your emotional state when facing the unknown. Overall, uncertainty can be a challenging experience, but it is also a normal and inevitable part of life. And finding healthy ways to relate to uncertainty enables us to navigate unknown situations more confidently. Because not knowing what is going to happen is not the problem. We don't really fear the unknown. We fear what we do know and don't want to experience again. We fear the things that happened before and that traumatized us. We fear feeling certain emotions because they were painful and uncomfortable, and we want to control the next moment because we want to guarantee we can avoid them. The problem with this approach is that the things we want to control are precisely the things that rest just outside of our control, just as the future, the outcome of our efforts, the thoughts, actions, and opinions of others, including what they think about us and how they choose to take care of themselves. And that brings us to the crux of the matter. The only thing you have control over is yourself. You have complete and absolute control over how you think, what you give your energy to, how you speak to yourself, and how you choose to deal with your emotional discomfort. And granted, we all have our struggles. I've experienced many things that at the time I thought they were the worst thing that could have possibly happened. And now I don't wish they were different. I'm at peace with everything I've been through. I have chosen how to think and feel about those moments and to love them as part of my journey, because I have chosen to love where I am now. Every stage of my life has been better than the last. Not because I'm tricking myself into believing that it is, but because I have decided to believe it is better. I can decide to love my journey on purpose, so I do, and you can too. This approach doesn't mean that what happens next will be easy or fun. It just means that you can look at uncertainty as a threat, or you can take it as an opportunity for growth and mastery. It just means that you can choose to believe that whatever outcome happens will turn out to be the best one for you, because that experience will be the best teacher of the lesson you need to learn, the biggest challenge that you can tackle so you can grow, and the ultimate path that will lead you to love that version of your life. And from that space of acceptance and self-confidence, there's no reason to feel afraid of the unknown. Have a good week.